Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Today is Friday, and instead of what would normally be a Blogs with Boilon Friday, I'm here to have a complete banger of an insane video here today because I'm going to be sharing with you guys the next 3 upcoming teams coming to Marvel Strike Force. Yes, that's right. 3 teams coming to Marvel Strike Force. That's going to be after the Absolute A-Force patch. This might be a little bit of a lengthy video, so you know what? I'd really appreciate it if you went down and clicked on that subscribe button, because there's still about 50% of you that have yet to subscribe. So if you want more of these videos like this that are going to help you get ahead by telling you exactly who is going to be coming up for reworks and new characters, then you know what to do. Smash that button and let's boil this down. Okay, let's get started with the easy bits, right? Where are we at? We are at where previously I had talked about the Immortal X-Men, right? You remember that was a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago or so now, I forget now. And these are going to be the official reworked characters for the Immortal X-Men. So these characters are ones that I had brought up previously in other videos, and these are the 4 confirmed reworks to be for the Immortal X-Men. Beast, Cable, Storm, and Polaris, with the new character being Jean Grey, who I had already discussed in a previous video. Now, that means that there is, unfortunately, no more new characters. So this is going to be an Infestation-esque team, where it's, big time Spidey and 4 other characters. And newsflash, the other teams that we're going to be talking about is also going to be an Infestation-esque team. You may have seen on the thumbnail of the video that there's going to be another character that we're going to be talking about who is going to be headlining that team. So Jean Grey is basically the leader, or the new character leader, I suppose, of the Immortal X-Men with these. So I want to start off the video by talking about the kit to Jean Grey. So I don't have the kits here for the other 4 characters, but I do have it for Jean Grey, and I want to talk to you about that first. So that's going to be first up. Let's go into full screen mode. Of course, it's a little bit easier for this. So we're going to be talking about Jean Grey, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this aesthetic for that character. Now, the passive is an essay. It is so long. I tried to highlight some of the important bits here. So her passive level 5 Marvel Girl on spawn, apply defense up to self and all X-Men and Avenger allies. Yes, that's right. We're going to be talking about it later on in the video, that there is going to be crossover with Jean Grey to one of the other teams. You're probably going to see it, honestly, you probably see it right now in the text if you're kind of skimming through. So apply defense up to self and all X-Men and Avenger allies. Bury yourself and all X-Men and Avenger allies for 30% of this character's max health. On spawn, on Crucible offense. So Immortal X-Men is going to be a Crucible offense team. Okay, we're going to do a recap towards the end. It's going to get really confusing. Honestly, it's a bit Venn diagram-ish because there's some crossover from the various teams across the board. Some characters are on 2 teams. There's going to be 3 to talk about total. On spawn and Crucible offense, if this character has 4 or more Immortal X-Men allies, so you're going to need the full team. Reduce the starting ability energy of each enemy's special ability by 2, and then apply Safeguard to self and all Immortal X-Men allies. So, very good on spawn effect there. On spawn in raids, it basically does the same thing. So this is when basically Jean Grey is also going to be on the Uncanny Avengers team. So that is going to be a new raid team. And what I believe is that it's going to be the first team of the next Spotlight raid. So that's because this is a mixed team. It's not going to be a full mutant team. So that's why I believe that it's going to be the first Spotlight raid team. As an aside, I do believe that Dark Descendants is probably going to be the second Spotlight raid team, which is the mutant raid team, I'm almost sure of. So again, the same stuff, the same text in Crucible offense and in raids here. Now in Crucible offense, if this character has 4 or more Immortal X-Men allies, or in raids, if they have 4 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, before this character takes a turn, enemies cannot gain taunt. So tanks can't get taunt when they have the full team of both of these in their respective game modes. Enemies also cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies. You've seen this before, right? They've been using this in a lot of different characters' kits lately, definitely, and so this is going to be a thing to stop speed bar gain in raids and in Crucible offense with the full team. Okay, now the passive looks very lengthy. The other parts of the kit are not as long. The basic Psywave. There was a thread on Reddit talking about Pokemon-based attacks. Maybe they're really into that here because that's a Pokemon attack too. Attack primary target for 300% damage, plus apply defense down for 2 turns and heal block for 2 turns. Pretty basic. It's not anything super exciting. The passive is just where it's all at. Special, actually, this is kind of long too. Telekinetic Blitz. Attack all enemies for 350% damage. Prolong the duration of all negative effects for all enemies by 1. And then apply the following negative effects for 2 turns to all enemies. Defense down, heal block, and disrupted. This attack gains 200% extra focus. This is on all game modes. On Crucible Offense, however, you reduce the speed bar of all enemies by 50%. This one is very large. Also, apply Safeguard for 2 turns to self and all Immortal X-Men allies. So she's giving it to the team on spawn, and then doing it again on her special. This is very likely to be the first skill. If this character has 3 or more Immortal X-Men allies, that's interesting. I guess there's some theory crafting, but realistically, you're probably going to want to use the full team. This attack cannot miss and cannot be blocked or counterattacked. And then in raids, same thing. 3 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, but realistically, I think you're going to be using the full team, so I'm not sure why it's just 3. So pretty good there, reducing the speed bar. That part, so I just want to reiterate the speed bar part, that's actually only Crucible. Same with the Safeguard. It's not in the raids portion for Uncanny Avengers. Moving on to the Ultimate Terra Throw. Attack all enemies for 400% piercing, plus apply 2 bleed and clear revive once. This is insane because it's an AoE clear revive once and piercing. I mean, that's pretty good too. Apply ability block for 2 turns to the primary target. This attack gains 200% extra focus, and enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. Pretty good damage. Again, I just like all my other videos, I do want to say that this is a early version of the kit where damage numbers could fluctuate, things like that. But by and large, 90% of the kit is going to be accurate. So do keep that in mind. 400 actually might be a little bit low. I'm not sure. It could be like around 500. So subject to change there. But as far as what it does though, yeah, AoE clear and revive once, and it's a permakill mechanic. So yeah, pretty scary there. And so that's going to be the so far of Immortal X-Men. Again, we're not going to be here to talk about the kit changes to Beast, Cable, Storm, and Polaris. I do want to say on a whole, if you guys know for like Wasp and Ironheart, that they're not really looking to make a ton of changes on characters. They're wanting to give stat changes and stat boosts to the new era. But other than that, they're not making insane adjustments to the kits, which is why I'm focusing on Jean Grey and what she's going to do. And we're going to be kind of springboarding this into the next team. All right, and for the second part of the video, we're going to be springboarding into the next team, and that's going to be the Uncanny Avengers. And if you remember what I said earlier on, there is crossover. And so Beast and Storm are the crossovers from Immortal X-Men that are also going to be Uncanny Avengers, alongside Jean Grey, Falcon, who is going to be the raid rework for the Uncanny Avengers. And then one of the kits that we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about Hercules. So Hercules is coming to Marvel Strike Force. He is going to be spearheading the Uncanny. He's going to be the crossover with Jean Grey in the Uncanny Avengers, and he's going to be spearheading his own team, which we're going to be talking about in the third part of the video. So let's go into full screen mode here and talk about the kit to Hercules, because it's also going to be another essay. A lot of it is just caked into the passive. So this is going to be I'm not, look at it. Okay, we're gonna try to break this down, but holy crap, it is insane. I had to really lower the text, the size of my text to get it on one slide. So in raids on spawn, apply Safeguard for 2 turns to self and all Uncanny Avenger allies. If this character has 3 or more, if this character has 3 or more mystic enemies, okay, this is important. I'm not exactly sure, I haven't digested this in terms of why some of these callouts exist, or who it's really aimed at. Maybe for raids, right? Maybe there's enemies. Fills speed bar of self and all Uncanny Avenger allies by 50% on war offense on spawn. So this next team, the Mighty Avengers, is going to be the team that Hercules is spearheading, and this is going to be a war offense team. So we have a Crucible offense team, we have a raid team, and we have a war offense team. So just to be clear about that, we're going to circle back around towards the end. Again, you get the same kind of mechanics here in raids for Hercules as you do in war offense with Mighty Avengers. So I'm not going to repeat that, but this is all the same, just in different game modes. Whenever this character, I wanted to highlight this part because this is really important here. Whenever this character takes an action, Perform the following before the attack on the target. Clear all charged. Copy and clear all positive effects, excluding stealth. And copy and clear revive once. Why this is important is because this is taking place essentially before he uses any of his skills. Okay? So he's clearing all charged. He's clearing, copying, clearing all positive effects, and clearing revive once before he attacks. In raids, if this character is alive and has 4 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, basically it repeats all of this to all of his allies. So they're all doing the exact same thing above here in raids. Pretty crazy. He does not copy taunt though, but it seems like Hercules can take taunt. The other allies do not. And then on War Offense, it's the exact same thing again, but for Mighty Avenger allies. And once again, they do not take taunt, but they're all ripping off buffs, charges, and revive once. Not just Hercules, but all of the allies on the team as well in their respective game modes. This is just absolute insanity and power creep to the 10th degree. If we thought Kahori was crazy, I think Hercules' kit is even crazier, in my opinion. In raids, if this character has 4 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, or on War Offense, if they have 4 or more Mighty Avenger allies, enemy characters cannot feel speed bar for blah, 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 right? We've seen this before with Jean Grey. So this is interesting, I suppose, because I'm almost certain that Jean Grey had the same text on the passive, and they're on the same team. I don't know why it's there necessarily, but there you go. And it does do the same on War Offense, which is interesting because Zombie Scarlet Witch does do it, but I believe she can do it by herself, but it's based on her HP. This does require the full Mighty Avengers team, however, to block speed bar, so do keep that in mind. We're going to be talking about the characters for Mighty Avengers in the third part of the video, and then he gains 200% focus, and Mighty Avenger and Uncanny Avenger allies gain 200% focus. Oh, okay, that's the bulk of it, because the rest of it is not as insane. Around the World, that's his basic. Attack primary target for 350. Enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. This attack cannot be dodged. Okay, it's not nothing super crazy there, just damage, and it's a permakill, and can't be dodged, I guess. His special, Olympian Slam, level 7, attack primary and adjacent targets for 400% damage plus 50% drain and apply defense down. Apply ability block and disrupt to the primary target, and then he applies offense up for 2 turns to self and all allies, regardless of what team they're on. Flip all negative effects into positive effects. This is great for all self and all Mighty Avenger and Uncanny Avenger allies. I wish it was, all allies, but it's just the team callout, unfortunately. This attack gains 250% extra focus and cannot be blocked or dodged. Okay, so he's doing some of that part for you. And then just to really reiterate, just to go back, by the way, I know we don't have the kits, but these are the other characters for the raid team. This is Uncanny Avengers. I know it's going to get kind of complicated. So Beast is going to be the support character for the raid team for this. So just clear, although it seems that Hercules also can do some flipping too. And then his ultimate, Labor of Strength. I was surprised how little of text, honestly, there is in the ultimate, but it seems they're caking a lot of things into the passive. Gain offense up for 2 turns, so he's doing this before the damage, which is great. Attack all enemies for 500% piercing and 50% drain, and then reduce speed bar on the primary target by 100%. This attack is unavoidable, so a great unavoidable attack with large piercing damage. So when Hercules gets star levels, this is probably going to hurt a lot, and I do love unavoidable attacks. So that is going to be Hercules' kit, and that is going to be right here. This plus Jean Grey plus Hercules is going to be the team that is going to be upcoming for the Uncanny Avengers, which again, I do believe is going to be the first Spotlight 2 raid team. Okay, so I think that we're preparing. I think this means that Spotlight raids are going to be around the corner and that this is going to be the first one. And then I guess closer to February, we're going to be getting Dark Descendants, which is related to Onslaught and probably Havoc at that point with some reworks in there, if you caught my other video. Let's talk about the third team. Okay, so this is the third team, the Mighty Avengers. All right, we had the Immortal X-Men, we had Uncanny Avengers, and now we're talking about the Mighty Avengers. And this is the War Offense team. You might notice that Falcon is also on this team. Hercules, who is missing, is also on this team. The 3 reworks that are not kind of mixing with the Uncanny is going to be Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Invisible Woman. I know what you're thinking, that Boilon is absolutely insane. But I'm here to tell you that I'm not, and I am definitely 100% serious about all of this. So Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Invisible Woman. There is going to be a little bit more changes to Invisible Woman as far as her kit goes, because honestly, it's pretty garbage. There is going to be some changes to her ultimate and how that functions. It's actually going to get an attack on top of this as well. It's going to do all of the same thing, but it's going to do damage on top, which is really nice. And this is also going to give you an additional legendary character that maybe you're thinking about for like DD7, maybe not 8, but like 7, 6, 7, that kind of stuff for newer and mid-game player, maybe not new players, but mid-game players, right, who need an additional legendary character to bring up. That might be a little bit interesting. And Bio, these are all mixed origin characters, right? We have Vision and Falcon that are tech. We have Scarlet Witch that is mystic. We have Invisible Woman who is Bio. We're going to talk about all of the rework characters in one window in a minute here. As far as Falcon goes, I think he's getting a little bit of a buff to his special. This is really, really interesting because he was a crazy speed bar king, because his special gave, while it was pretty basic, gave a lot of speed bar, and this was one of the best speed bar abilities back in the day. Build speed bar for self and all allies by 30% plus 10% for each enemy with a positive effect. This was stacked, give you 10% per enemy. In Dark Dimension, this was absolutely nutty. There was a team called the Tech Wing team. Maybe people old enough might remember that. And we're going to get to use this again. And that means that with the new era stats, Falcon is probably going to... I want to imagine that Falcon is going to be raised back up to meta status, because speed bar and turn bar is king in this game. And if he's able to survive to get this stuff off, then it's going to be absolutely nutty in PvP. I'm not a huge PvP person, but I know without a doubt that there's going to be some big changes there. As far as Scarlet Witch and Vision, I don't think there's a ton of changes to their kits there, which is why I'm not really focusing on the reworked characters. I'm going to talk a little bit, just as I did broadly about some of the changes, but I don't think that there's anything worth bringing up, because basically they're all going to get new era stats. Some of them are going to get more reworks than others, but expect that, 2/3 of them are just not going to get a lot of changes, unless they're like super, super, super old. Yes, Wasp and Ironheart were pretty old. I don't know why they didn't see more. But yeah, Invisible Woman and Falcon are going to get a little bit in the update. So yeah, some pretty crazy stuff here. Let's kind of show them all together. Okay, so I think this is all of them. Okay, we have the Immortal X-Men once again. We have the Uncanny Avengers raid team, and we have the Mighty Avengers War Offense team. We have Scarlet Witch and Vision, part of the Mighty Avengers. Beast, Cable, Polaris, and Storm is part of the Immortal X-Men. You know what? Actually, just take a look at this. The screen pauses if you need to. I have a spreadsheet, okay? Because this is a little bit easier. So, Crucible Offense, Immortal X-Men. We have Jean Grey, Cable, Storm, Beast, and Polaris. I did some crossovers here in the middle with Uncanny Avengers, because that's going to be the crossover. That's going to be the Spotlight raids. We have Jean Grey and Hercules. They're on both. Both of them are on the raid team. And then we have Storm, Beast, and then Falcon from Mighty Avengers crossing over into the middle. And then for War Offense, we have Invisible Woman, Hercules, Vision and Scarlet Witch, and Falcon for the Mighty Avengers. Okay, I had to do it this way. I hope that this helps kind of explain what the fuck is going on with the next patch. This is going to be after Absolute A-Force, and this is probably going to be for the middle of December through into January. So this is only 2 new characters, which means that I think after that, we are going to be leading up into Onslaught, like I spoke about earlier on in my other video, and then into the Dark Descendants in mid-January, that kind of thing. That's kind of the expectation that I have. Since they're releasing new characters every 7 to 10 days, they very well also could put, because normally there's, I would say, 3 characters per patch. It's very well that it could be Jean Grey, Hercules, and then Onslaught, which will then carry over into the following patch. Or maybe they'll just drop all 4, whatever. Maybe they'll do Havoc and stuff at the same, who knows, right? So that's kind of the path forward with the character releases. We're getting these 3 teams for over the winter a little bit there, and then we're getting Dark Descendants in the new year. Those are the 4 teams that I know about. That's obviously not Absolute A-Force, because we're already done with that, or we're starting to deal with that now. Huge video here. Okay, there was a lot to really break down and compile. I wanted to share this with you guys so that you guys can get a heads up on some of the things that are coming. Now, if you want, obviously, what I would personally recommend is the Spotlight raid team, or the raid team first, which would be Uncanny Avengers. So make sure you just highlight Storm, Beast, and Falcon. As far as the other teams, really depends on your game mode, but there's going to be so many reworks that you're not going to have the gold or resources necessarily to build all of these. So it's going to be really important that you kind of figure out which is important to you. And for me, it's spotlight raids. And so I'm going to be focusing on that team first, and then probably Crucible, because they're X-Men, and there's a good crossover probably in the future as well. That's the Jean Grey team. Not a big war person, so I might not invest too much into Invisible Woman, Scarlet Witch, and Vision, who are on Mighty Avengers, but I do have them built up a decent amount, so maybe I might be able to do something once I get Hercules built up in the future. So yeah, crazy stuff happening in Marvel Strike Force. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to know about all things Marvel Strike Force as early as possible here on the Boilon channel. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.